Ever feel like that old saying, work hard, climb the ladder, just doesn't, I don't know, really resonate with you?
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be a more, I don't know, fulfilling way to not just find a career, but like your own version of success.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today, we're diving into a book that throws that old script right out the window,
Okay.
especially if you're someone who thrives on energy and really diving deep into projects.
Okay.
It's called The Generator Money Bible, and it's packed with, like, unconventional wisdom.
Okay.
For a very specific kind of person, though. Generators.
And that term might sound a little out there,
Yeah.
but think of generators as like those friends we all have who
Yeah.
always have a million ideas, love to build and create, and just light up when they're truly engaged in their work, you know?
Totally. Like those YouTubers who turn their passion for, like, gaming or makeup into entire businesses.
Right.
That's not just luck, right?
Exactly.
This book suggests it's all about tapping into a natural energy pattern, which is super interesting.
Yeah, very much so.
We're going to unpack all that, but just imagine for a second, like, having this superpower that attracts opportunities just by being your authentic self. Intrigued?
I'm intrigued.
We are too, and that's our deep dive today.
Love it. And the book really kicks off by painting this picture of, like, a new frontier. You know, it argues that the traditional good job equation just isn't working for everyone.
Yeah.
Especially generators. It's like the old map isn't leading to the treasure anymore.
Yeah, like we're all playing a different game now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Speaking of games, you know, the book even uses the example of those Let's Players on YouTube. I mean, who would have thought that? Like, narrating yourself playing Minecraft could become a career.
Right.
But the thing is, it speaks to this idea of finding value in unexpected places, in those things that light you up, even if they don't fit the, like, you know, the traditional mold.
Absolutely. And that's where the book really kind of challenges us to, like, rethink our definition of money. You know, it's not just about, like, you know, paying bills. It's about value, power, even like societal structures.
Oh,
It
interesting.
even gives this example, like, you know how we used to value handcrafted goods? Then mass production kind of took over.
Yeah.
And now there's this resurgence of people who want unique artisan-made items again.
Yeah.
That shift, like, influences what we buy, who profits, even how work is done. It's all connected.
So, like, this intricate dance between what a society values, who holds the power, right, and how that influences the flow of resources, which ultimately boils down to money.
Yeah.
Which might explain why so many people, especially generators, I think, feel that underlying anxiety around finances. You know, it's
Yeah.
not just about having enough. It's about feeling valued for what you bring to the table.
Exactly. And for generators, the book argues this isn't just some, like, psychological quirk.
Okay.
Their energy, like the way they're literally wired to work and create, it's fundamentally tied to how money shows up in their lives.
Wow.
It even goes so far as to say generators have a cosmic cheat code when it comes to abundance,
Well,
but they're often playing the game with the wrong set of rules, you know?
okay, now I'm really curious. So let's dive into the world of the generator. What makes them so different? The book seems to suggest they have this inherent power to attract abundance. And it's not about, like, magic or anything. It's about aligning with their natural design.
Exactly. It's like they have this internal rhythm for work that's different. And when they fight against it, trying to force themselves into a mold that doesn't fit, that's when they get stuck.
Oh, I see.
The book calls that place where their natural energy meets their passion, their zone of genius.
Ooh, a zone of genius, huh? That sounds almost, I don't know, kind of mythical.
It's actually very practical, you know, once you break it down.
Okay.
The book really emphasizes that your zone of genius isn't just about being good at something.
Right.
It's about that feeling you get when you're totally in the flow, you know? Like the hours fly by, you're energized. It almost feels effortless, even if the work itself is challenging.
Like that feeling when you find a show you love so much, you binge watch the entire thing and you don't even realize it's 3:00 a.m.
Exactly. And the book gives the example of Beyoncé.
Okay.
Whether you love her music or not, you can't deny the woman was born to perform.
Right.
She embodies that, like, effortless mastery and that joy in her work. And the book's point is, we all have a zone of genius. Even if it's buried under, like, layers of what we think we should be doing.
Okay, so how do we uncover it?
Yeah.
It's not always as obvious as, say, you know, being a world-class singer.
The book suggests looking back to your childhood for clues.
Oh, interesting.
Like, what did you love to do before the world told you what you should be good at?
Yeah.
What just came naturally to you? For example, the author mentions how she used to spend hours making these, like, elaborate Sims videos as a kid, even had a little YouTube channel back in the day. It wasn't until, like, years later, when she started incorporating video into her astrology work, that she realized, wait, this is that same energy coming back around.
I love that. I'm already thinking back to my childhood. Like, I was obsessed with organizing these neighborhood plays, directing everyone, making costumes. Looking back, maybe podcasting isn't that far off after all.
There you go. See, it's about recognizing those patterns.
Yeah.
The book also gives some really practical tips, like just paying attention to your energy levels.
Okay.
What leaves you feeling drained versus energized?
Right.
Even if you've been working hard,
Right.
What makes time fly by? Those are big clues. And don't dismiss something just because it seems, unconventional.
Yeah, yeah.
The book even mentions someone who found their zone of genius in, get this, competitive knitting.
Competitive knitting. There's a whole world out there we don't know about.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's inspiring to think that there's a zone of genius for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not like, something you'd find on a typical career list.
Mm-hmm.
But the book acknowledges, like, it's not always easy to step into that zone.
Right.
Right? What about that inner voice that says, like, this isn't practical or this isn't realistic?
That's where the scarcity mindset comes in. The book argues that generators are particularly susceptible to this because their natural state is one of abundance.
Oh,
But when they start doubting their own power, their ability to create, to attract, it creates like an energetic short circuit.
so instead of trusting that natural flow, they overwork, they overthink, and it's never enough.
Precisely. The book gives examples like staying in a soul-sucking job for security or being afraid to share your gifts fully because you don't trust that there's enough to go around.
Right.
And this scarcity mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
But the good news is it can be shifted.
Okay, good.
And one of the key ways the book suggests doing that is through what it calls the dual investment.
Okay, tell me more about this dual investment. This sounds like it could be a game changer.
It's about investing both your time and your resources in your zone of genius.
Okay.
And it's not just about putting in the hours. It's about putting in the right kind of effort in the right areas with the right support.
Okay.
The book uses this great analogy of planting a seed.
Yeah, I like where you're going with this. It's like you can't just, scatter seeds everywhere and expect this magical garden to appear.
Right.
You have to, nurture them, give them the right environment to thrive.
Exactly. You have to be intentional. The book emphasizes it's about quality over quantity.
Okay.
And that applies to both time and resources.
Right.
For example, instead of burning yourself out working nights and weekends, could you maybe invest a few hours in a high-quality workshop?
Okay.
That will teach you valuable skills related to your zone of genius. Or maybe it's hiring a coach, investing in some better equipment, or even just giving yourself permission to say no to the things that are draining your energy.
It's about creating that fertile ground for your zone of genius to really flourish.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started this podcast, I was so caught up in the technical aspects of it, like trying to learn everything at once. And it was exhausting.
Yeah.
And then I actually hired an audio editor, someone who was amazing at what they did. And it just freed me up to focus on what I truly enjoy, which is connecting with interesting people like you and diving deep into these fascinating topics.
There you go. You invested in support that allowed you to focus your energy on your zone of genius. And look at you now. You're hosting a podcast.
That's right.
But the book also emphasizes that, sometimes those investments don't have to break the bank. It could be as simple as, carving out 30 minutes a day to learn a new skill online or joining a community of like-minded people, just for support and inspiration.
I love that. It's not about having it all figured out from day one.
Right.
It's about taking those small steps, experimenting, being willing to course correct along the way.
Exactly.
But what happens when those inevitable curveballs come our way? Because life doesn't always go according to plan. And setbacks, especially financial ones, those can really throw us off track.
Yeah, and this is where the book gets really interesting. It has a whole section on regeneration, and it connects this idea of financial setbacks to, get this, the astrological energy of Pluto, the planet of transformation, death, and rebirth.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about this Pluto connection.
So basically, the book argues that just like a physical injury, right, it can actually lead to the body healing back even stronger.
Okay.
Financial setbacks can be huge opportunities for deep regeneration.
Interesting.
Think about it, When we experience a financial loss, it forces us to reevaluate, to reassess our priorities.
Right.
And oftentimes to get, creative and resourceful in ways we never thought possible.
That makes me think of that saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a crisis to push us out of our comfort zones and unlock this, new level of resilience. Right.
Absolutely. And for generators who are, naturally designed to create and generate,
Yeah.
these periods of regeneration can be incredibly potent.
Oh.
It's like they go through this, alchemical process,
Yeah.
emerging from the ashes, even more aligned with their zone of genius, and often with even greater abundance than before.
So it's not just about, attracting more money. It's about embodying this, whole different energy around work, around purpose, around abundance.
Yeah.
Instead of asking, how can I make more money? We start asking,
Yes.
how can I bring more of myself
Mm-hmm.
to the world?
Yes.
How can I use my unique gifts, my passions, to actually make a difference?
Exactly. And the book suggests, for generators, that shift in perspective is everything.
Wow.
When you're coming from that place of authenticity, of aligned action, money isn't the goal. It's simply a natural byproduct.
Right.
Like those magnetic toys,
Yeah.
When the polarity is right, they just click into place.
I love that analogy. So to wrap up our deep dive into the Generator Money Bible, what's one key takeaway you hope listeners will walk away with today?
For anyone who resonates with this idea of being a generator, someone who thrives on energy, creativity, and diving deep into their work, know this. You have a unique gift to share with the world, a zone of genius that's just waiting to be uncovered. And when you align with that, when you invest your time and energy in those things that truly light you up, abundance in all its forms will naturally flow.
This has been such an insightful conversation. So much to think about, so much to explore. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Generator Money Bible. And remember, your zone of genius is out there waiting for you. Go find it.